U.S. President Barack Obama says his government failed to pave the way for peace in Libya after helping topple Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. His admission came as he ordered a fresh round of airstrikes in the North African nation targeting Islamic State.
All of us collectively were not sufficiently attentive to what had to happen the day after and the day after and the day after that in order to ensure that there were strong structures in place to assure basic security and peace inside of Libya.
Washington's latest intervention is officially aimed at assisting the so-called Government of National Accord in Tripoli. The US-backed ousting of Gaddafi 5 years ago sparked chaos in Libya and allowed ISIL to take advantage. America's airstrikes come just a few weeks after the Pentagon admitted it has no, quote, grand strategy for Libya. RT's Guy Chichikan went to the State Department to ask if Washington's plans have changed.
It is clear that the UN-backed Government of National Accord in Libya cannot fight terrorists on its own. And that suggests the U.S. is going to be in Libya for a long time to come. And I asked the State Department, what is the U.S.'s overall strategy in Libya? Because you can only do so much with airstrikes. With chaos in the country, it seems to be only a matter of time before the next batch of terrorists pop up. And State Department's John Kirby said the U.S. strategy is to support the Government of National Accord, the GNA. With that comes another question. What happens to the part of Libya that does not support the GNA? In fact, Libya has a parallel government in Tobruk, whose parliament a few days ago refused to hold a vote of confidence in the GNA. Is the U.S. concerned about these internal dynamics as it throws its weight behind the GNA? Here.
At a time when the GNA is having a difficult time unifying the country, do you think UN backing and now U.S. military support could give a green light to give a sort of a signal to the GNA to crack down on parts of the country that won't go along with it?
Well, we're not interested in seeing a crackdown, to use your phrase. We're interested in seeing the GNA succeed. And to the other parties that you're talking about, we continue to call on them to support the GNA. The responsibility is on them to support the GNA, as the international community is supporting the GNA. That's the path forward here. That's the best thing for all Libyans. And so to the degree that they want to obstruct, delay, obfuscate, and make more difficult the work of the GNA, then we're going to continue to call on them to cease those activities and support the GNA.
Is the U.S. arming or planning to arm forces under the control of the GNA?
I'm not aware of any such plans.
Even though UN Security Council members are backing the GNA, France reportedly supported General Khalifa Haftar's efforts to drive rebel fighters, including an al-Qaeda-affiliated group, from Libya's second biggest city, Benghazi. General Haftar has refused to support the UN-backed Government of National Accord because his forces were once loyal to a rival government. In July, the French government said 3 of its soldiers had been killed in a helicopter crash in eastern Libya, and the GNA blasted the French for their unauthorized military presence in the country. So as Western powers are going after extremists in Libya, it is not clear how they will affect internal dynamics there.
Guy Chichikan reporting, well, when Barack Obama leaves the White House next January, there's essentially a 50-50 chance he'll be replaced by former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. And she was a top decision maker when the US moved to topple Gaddafi. Whistleblowing site WikiLeaks has now released more details of her involvement in the intervention. In a leaked email, Clinton was praised by a State Department official for her role in, quote, tightening the noose around Gaddafi. But Clinton has also been criticized for failing to provide security in the aftermath. An attack on a US consulate in Libya in 2012 saw 4 Americans killed. However, the US media is doing its best to sweep the story under the rug, according to news analyst Lionel.
We have a State Department official who, in the capacity of Secretary of State, might actually be, according to these emails, exacerbating the problem, fueling the problem, funding, if not encouraging, the very terrorism which we ostensibly are against. And this person, based upon the allegations now, mind you, it happens to be running for president. We're in radio and media silence here because our media are distractors. The barking seal media, and I'm sorry to say, many of my fellow citizens have not a clue or a concern as to what they're not being told. Yet we mourn and we praise and we should those brave American men and women who gave their life in fighting terrorism, but we're not interested in what causes, exacerbates, fuels, funds, and promotes terrorism. Go figure.